Emma is with South San Francisco Parks and Recreation. Emma, go ahead.
Hi, David. Thank you for the introduction. I really appreciate the opportunity to get to speak at this conference about our brand new project along such accomplished botanists and environmentalists. And I really appreciate all of you participants that have stuck around with this conference until the last presentation. So thank you. So the Sign Hill Habitat Restoration Project was funded in the summer of 2018 through a Measure K grant with the County of San Mateo. And this grant was awarded to the City of South San Francisco and their Parks and Recreation Department for a 2-year habitat restoration project funding staff time, volunteer programming, and tools on Sign Hill. This project was officially launched in the fall of 2019 when I was hired on as natural resource specialist. Since then, we've hired a natural resources aide to help out with habitat restoration. And then in January 2020, we started our first volunteer events. So it's a relatively new project, and we're really excited that we're able to share some of our results with you all. So Sign Hill Park, a lot of you might be familiar with Sign Hill from just driving past it on the freeway. It's got the iconic South San Francisco, the industrial city letters on it. But what a lot of people don't know is that it's actually a park that's accessible to the public. So it's 65 acres of open space owned by the City of South San Francisco, 20 of which were recently purchased in 2018 on the east side, Liberty Park. An additional 25 acres on the north side of Sign Hill still lies in private ownership. But Sign Hill is included in this San Bruno Mountain Conference because it is a foothill of San Bruno Mountain. I'm going to show a slide in a few minutes showing what Sign Hill used to look like in comparison to San Bruno Mountain in the 1930s, and you can hardly tell the difference. Sign Hill has a lot of the same plant species that you find on San Bruno Mountain, and it also shares a lot of the same stewardship as San Bruno Mountain does. And that stewardship has served as a great inspiration for this project. Something that's unique about Sign Hill is that it's very accessible. We've got 3 different entrances to access Sign Hill. There's 5 different trails, but the total mileage is about 1.5 miles. So you can easily, in an afternoon, park and explore most of the trails of Sign Hill. It really is nature in your backyard. A lot of times we see nature as something that we have to go visit to, and Sign Hill is a place that you can easily access. When I'm up there, I see neighbors on their daily runs. I see people who are trying to get a selfie with the letters. So it really just brings in a wide variety of different types of people. And while South San Francisco, the industrial city, might seem to stand in contrast with preservation and conservation, the reason why Sign Hill has remained open space is partly due to the fact that the letters are there. And somewhat ironically, management around the letters to make sure that you can see it from far away, the weed whipping of the tall annual grasses, has allowed for the Mission Blue butterfly to actually be found around the letters. So when I was doing some Mission Blue butterfly monitoring, I was finding them eggs like right next to the U of South. So it's a really special place. I want to start thinking about Sign Hill as a biodiverse native grassland. So many of you might be familiar with this picture on the left. It's very iconic of South San Francisco. You can see a woman in the center, and she's surrounded by this beautiful wildflower on Sign Hill, and that is the coast iris on Sign Hill. I have a quote from Lester Roundtree's Hardy Californians. So don't forget to look to the left at that grassy hillside near South San Francisco, where thousands of Iris longipetala flowers have turned the green into something that looks a little bit like drop sky. So she was admiring the beauty of Sign Hill and its diverse flora. Sign Hill used to be all native grassland. So you can kind of see where Sign Hill stands in relationship to San Bruno Mountain from the letters. Both of these photos were taken around the 1930s. And you can see that Sign Hill doesn't have the trees that are now characteristic of its west side. A fun fact that you can see on the right-hand side is that Sign Hill used to have a second sign on it. It was once home to the largest electric sign in the 1930s that flashed different messages. So, and the remnants of that sign can still be found on Sign Hill today. But I want to stress to you that Sign Hill is still a very biodiverse native grassland. So these are all photos that I've taken over the past couple months on Sign Hill, and every day I'm amazed by the biodiversity I'm finding, especially so close to neighborhoods in the city. A lot of the wildflowers that you can see, the mission blouse, the golden violets, the coast rock cress. We see the same on San Bruno Mountain. The coast rock cress is on the California Native Plant Society watch list. It's a rare plant along with the coast iris. So we do have some rare plants on Sign Hill. The big mascot for Sign Hill is the Mission Blue butterfly. We have our own population of Mission Blue butterflies on Sign Hill, and they're still thriving on Sign Hill, which is really beautiful to see. And then we also have some more charismatic wildlife that especially children and families like to see, like the arboreal salamander that I found, or we have some coyotes that run in between San Bruno Mountain and Sign Hill. So this is a thriving ecosystem, especially being so close to civilization. The threats to the Sign Hill biodiversity are fairly similar to those that San Bruno Mountain faces. So invasive plant species, scrub encroachment. I won't talk too much about those, but those are like the main threats that we're trying to address through our volunteer programming. Something that's a little bit unique to Sign Hill is that it has a large forest on the western side. There was a large tree planting effort between the 1960s and the 1980s. It was well-meaning. The idea was to conserve Sign Hill by creating forests, but unfortunately, like David was talking about with San Bruno Mountain, Sign Hill, like San Bruno Mountain, isn't really supposed to have trees, and a lot of these trees are dying, not doing well, and so a bit of our habitat restoration is working to remove small trees when we find them in the grasslands to keep them from becoming forests, and also removing dead trees because it is a risk to pickers. So how are we addressing these threats? Well, we really need the help of community stewardship, like those of you all participating in this conference. In January, we launched Sign Hill Stewards. Sign Hill Stewards is a bi-monthly event held on the second Wednesday and the following Saturday of each month from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. During Sign Hill Stewards, volunteers will remove invasive plants. We did a large planting effort from plants that we got from San Bruno Mountain Watch's Mission Blue Nursery. And a really important component of every work day is learning about the wildlife that we're seeing. I like to make sure that the volunteer programs are for all ages, because I think, you know, as important as the restoration work is, it's also equally important to learn more about the wildlife that you see and foster a love to want to protect it. So here are some photos from our Sign Hill Stewards. We were able to host 6 events from January until March. As you can see, some of the photos, volunteers are planting native grassland plants from the Mission Blue Nursery. We have other photos where volunteers are removing invasive plant species like thistle and radish. So I want to give a huge shout out to all the volunteers that have participated with us. And here's some of the results. So we've had 98 volunteers come out on Sign Hill and contribute almost 73.5 hours per month of restoration work. So we've gotten a lot of good restoration work done. We were able to plant 500 plants from the Mission Blue Nursery, and I tried to estimate it, but I'm sure it was in the number of thousands of invasive seedlings, particularly Italian thistle, removed. Something that I was really excited to see is that we're bringing out volunteers from all different age groups. So we're bringing in the elementary school students, the middle school and high school students, the young adults that are either in college or recently graduated, as well as our adults. Volunteerism and environmentalism is for all ages, so we're really excited to see that. And it's not a surprise that our volunteer programming has been successful because Stein Hill has a long history of community stewardship. Loretta and Chuck have gotten a lot of shout outs through the San Bruno Mountain Conference, but I want to give them another shout out. So Loretta and Chuck live at the base of Stein Hill, and starting in 2010, they've been going up to Stein Hill at least once a week. So they've been going up Stein Hill at least once a week for 10 years, removing invasive plant species, painting out graffiti, removing trash. They have even installed their own native plant garden at the Stone Gate entrance of Stein Hill. They water it almost weekly now. And they've also held various environmental programs on Stein Hill. As you can see on the right, they're leading, I believe this one's their exploratory walk, but they also lead a butterfly walk on Stein Hill. And not only that, they also steward the south side of San Bruno Mountain, and they have their own volunteer program. So stewardship of Stein Hill is what we need to help our habitat restoration project be successful. So if you're looking to join our efforts and get involved, I encourage you to take a photo of this slide with your phone, or go back to this slide when you're viewing the recorded conference. So one way to get involved is obviously to volunteer with us at Stein Hill Stewards. Like you can imagine, it's been postponed until further notice with COVID-19, but we'd love to have you out when it's safe to do so. Second, you can subscribe to our email newsletter. This not only gives you updates on the project, our volunteer events, but also I like to throw in cool wildlife sightings and other sorts of content on there. So that's definitely a really good thing to subscribe to. And then finally, we staff on the Stein Hill Habitat Restoration Project have been sheltering at home, but we want to make sure that you're still able to stay engaged with our project. So we've been developing various environmental education resources. Our natural resources aide, Daniel, put together a great Stein Hill video nature walk, and the link to that is below. We're going to be developing more YouTube videos so that you can feel like you're outside and checking out Stein Hill, but you don't necessarily have to visit in person. So with that, my email's at the bottom, so thank you.